Today we're diving into a company that's caught your eye, and it's Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
Okay.
From this article you sent over, it seems like they're not just surviving, they're actually thriving
Yeah.
in this kind of discount retail space.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this a little bit and figure out, what exactly is going on with Ollie's. So, to start off, they specialize in what's called closeout merchandise.
Yep.
So that's, overstocked, discontinued products, basically all that stuff that just didn't sell.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. And that's one of the most fascinating things about them for a business perspective is that, this is a really specific niche. And, they're doing well in a retail landscape that's, kind of struggling as a whole.
Absolutely. And they've been around for a while too, right? Founded back in 82.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've got over 550 stores, I think, in 31 states.
Yeah.
They're publicly traded. The thing that I thought was really interesting was the type of stuff that they're selling. It's not like, the lowest common denominator kind of stuff.
Right.
It's brand name, quality merchandise.
Yeah.
Just at a much lower price. So the article talked about this whole treasure hunt element.
Yeah.
Which seems pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's really, I think, a crucial aspect of their success.
Yeah.
It's, their stores are warehouse style, so they keep costs down.
Right.
But the inventory is constantly changing. So, one day you might find some luggage.
Right.
The next day it's gone.
Yeah.
And, maybe you'll find, some great camping gear,
Yeah.
real bargains, 50% off. The next day, who knows? And that kind of unpredictability, I think it really gets people coming back.
Yeah, and they're pretty strategic about where they source all this stuff, too.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
Companies that go bankrupt are downsizing. The Toys R Us example was a big one.
Yeah.
They pick up all that inventory. Even the actual retail spaces sometimes, like the old Big Lots locations, helps them expand and keep rent down. It seems like they've built a pretty strong network of vendors over the years.
Yeah. If you look at it kind of from the bigger picture, their sourcing strategy really gives them this kind of competitive advantage because essentially they're profiting from inefficiencies in the supply chain. So other retailers, maybe they misjudge demand or they have too much inventory or, businesses go out of business and you have all this extra product. So Ollie's can just kind of swoop in, get these great deals. And you're right, having these long-term relationships with vendors, that's a key strength for them.
And it's not just about price, though, right?
Yeah.
They have this huge loyalty program.
Yeah.
Ollie's Army.
The Ollie's Army, 14 million members.
Yeah, and they're accounting for 80% of sales?
80%, yeah.
So it seems like, it goes beyond just saving money. There's that appeal of the unexpected find, and they have really unique marketing.
Yeah, they do. Very quirky.
Yeah, like their mascot, Ollie. All the signage.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that all plays into customer engagement because it's not just about the discount. It's about finding that hidden gem.
Right.
And I think their branding really helps make them memorable and cultivates that loyal following.
And how are they doing financially? It seems like they're in pretty good shape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Big cash reserves. And recent performance has been impressive too, right? Their stock's been jumping up. Same-store sales are growing.
Yep. And, investment firms are actually pretty optimistic about their future, too.
Yeah.
They're saying that they could potentially more than double the number of stores they have.
Wow.
So their internal analysis shows that they could have as many as 1,300 stores nationwide.
Wow.
And they're planning on opening, 70 to 75 new stores this year?
Yeah.
Which shows a clear, commitment to growth.
Okay, so the one thing that the article mentioned as a potential challenge was the limited e-commerce presence.
Right.
And in today's world, that seems like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially when we think about long-term adaptability in an increasingly digital world.
Yeah.
But, they're doing so well with their physical stores right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of traditional retailers are really struggling. So maybe it's not as big of a deal as we think.
Right.
Maybe their model just really thrives on that in-store experience.
Yeah.
Maybe they're even intentionally not focusing on e-commerce. Like maybe they're actually choosing to drive foot traffic and maintain that treasure hunt atmosphere.
Right.
Even if it means losing out on some online sales.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it seems like Ollie's is winning with this really unique discount model.
Yeah.
It built on that treasure hunt experience, smart sourcing,
right,
super loyal customers, and really strong financials. So the big question is, can this closeout concept actually become like a recession-proof retail giant? Based on what we've talked about today, the signs are definitely pointing in that direction.
Absolutely. I think what's most impressive is just how they've managed to offer value in this really distinct and engaging way. And it makes you wonder, if they can do it in the brick and mortar world.
Yeah.
Could someone do something similar online? Could we translate that same treasure hunt feeling, those deep discounts? Could we make that work online?
Right.
It's a really interesting question.
It is. Something to think about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
See you next time.